I don't know if that's good. Where I want that to go. Greetings all, Shardvixen here. Alright, we're gonna get ready to do some reading. We're gonna read. So, the goal that I had was to read 1 to 10 or just 10 comic books from all the series I have. I have quite a few series. So, I have some that I'm going to get rid of, and I'm going to read some of those too if somebody is interested in those. But that's the goal here. That's what I'm kind of working towards. Because I don't want to read. I'll go back and revisit some. So if there's ones you really, 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 really wanted to go back to, like the Guardians of the Galaxy, we can do that at a later time. So we're gonna read. I'm gonna read this one first. But I only want to do 1 through 10 with that idea. And but this one, it was a 3-part story. So I thought we'd end it, and it has Phoenix in the 31st century, which when we read the Marvel Saga, that's going to make more. I probably should have started with the Marvel Saga, but this Guardians in the Galaxy is in the 31st century, so I didn't think it really was that big of a deal. Hey, Feely, thanks for joining. All right, so this is where we're at. We're going to do Guardians Galaxy of the Galaxy. You notice they changed their cover there, and it says, even in the 31st century, there shall be a Phoenix. World of Mutants Part 3. So the Phoenix story has been redone, I don't know. Just with Jean Grey alone, I have probably got in my comic book collection probably about 3 or 4 series of that. It's one that fans really seem to like, and that new comic book writers are constantly wanting to re-explore it, I guess. So this particular one is in the future. And it's kind of how he becomes that. It's kind of the same way as it always happens in them. I gotta find I put my glasses away so I would know where they were at. And guess what? They are not where they're supposed to be. Oh, mother. Okay, well, we'll just use the ones I use that I don't like as much as my other ones. I have 3 sets of glasses running around, and some are more better than others. Alright, look. So, twice the characters and 3 times the action. Double Dragon 3. It's a video game. Alright. So this is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1, Number 11. April 1999. I am Starhawk. I think I might turn that music down a little bit, though, in my ear. I want it there, but I don't want it really that loud. Maybe that's better. Alright, so I am Starhawk. I have stood here so many times before that I have lost count of them all. I've watched the monster wake from its slumber. I have seen the divergent realities where it didn't. I know that it will eventually save the universe. I know that it must be awakened at this particular junction in the time stream. Yet every time I have witnessed its power being unleashed, I have trembled with fear. In space, they were more fearful of the Phoenix than they were anywhere else. But I guess that makes sense. So the name of these, we'll get there. Okay, I have to make sure the book that this is not wobbling around too much. It keeps wobbling when I hit it. So a monster hungers. It consumes the volcano it was born in to break its long fast. It is a hunger that will continue to grow. May the gods forgive me, for I have set free the once and future Phoenix. Another stellar spectacular brought to you. Valentino words pictures. Montano brushes quills. Lopez letters SFX. Stein colors hues. Anderson gripes and complaints. Del Franco guidance council. Okay, so they're going to do the same thing, I think, where we have the split until it meets up. The revolution had just begun on the planet Haven. It was not going well. It spurred on by the capture of 3 of the Guardians, whom the populace mistook for the Overmen of their ancient legends. The Overmen who could liberate the people from their bondage and free them from the oppression of their rulers, the tyrant Rancor and her mutant lieutenants. But the people were unprepared for the ferocity with which Rancor would protect her power. And casualties were mounted rapidly on both sides. Thus I freed the monster, the only real hope any of them had to survive. A monster phoenix. I just think they call the phoenix a monster, Feely. I don't think that the phoenix is a monster itself. This is incredible. I can feel the power, the energy coursing through every fiber of my being. It is exhilarating. I feel as though there is nothing I cannot do, no foe I cannot vanquish. Have care, Garut. The power you now wield is intoxicating. Use it with discretion, my friend, lest it cost you your most precious possession, your soul. My soul? Aren't you getting just a little overdramatic, my friend? I have never felt more alive than I do at this moment. Why, I can't even look like the same man anymore. Do you have any idea what this feels like? Yes, I do. Then you know that power like this is worth any price, even my soul. I have the power to deliver my people from their bondage now, Starhawk, and that is what I intend to do. And here we go, reading our things. Look, Feely, Mega Man, anything else you need to know? We already read this one. Every time I see Mega Man, though, I think of you, Felix. Almost bought it that time. Every bone in my body hurts. Hit from all sides by that sphere. Serves me right for being stupid. This whole campaign has been bungled right from the start. This is all on our shoulders. We incited this. But how could we know that it would come to this? So many dead. We should have known. Starhawk knew. He could have prevented this. He could have warned us. He could have helped us. Coulda. Gonna pull yourself up, man. Ignore the pain. What's the glow, Starhawk? Magneto's bones. Did you see that? It destroyed the volcano. Yes, I saw it. What is it? Sidestep. It's a Firebird. We can see that, Rodney. Call Mind Scan, Step. See if she knows anything. Well, one thing's for sure. Whatever it isn't Starhawk. It looks like a giant bird of prey. It's got the citizens pretty spooked, too, so it must not be indigenous. Got to take advantage of this. Try to prevent these people from getting slaughtered. Look. So there's that sci-fi fictional book thing. I didn't look yet to see if there was that Mega Man Legend game engine is very much like this one of Zelda. Yeah. But Mega Man Legend is a different series. I see. Oh, my son, I think, is playing some Mega Man, but I can't be positive about that. So there's the whole picture of the Phoenix before I read it. So, run, flee! It's coming to the city. It's coming straight towards us. Witness my power, Starhawk. Run! Ah! I will begin by removing the tyrant Rancor's head from her body. The bird of fire attacks. It will kill us all. What is it, Mind Scan? I do not know, Sidestep. It was an enormous psi range. It hurts my mind. I cannot probe it. Oh, great. We've just finished squashing this rabble, and now we have to deal with... Huh? The Firebird is gone, and in its place is just a man? Look at them, Starhawk. They look like little more than insects from up here. Once they were my sole concern. I dedicated my life to my liberation. Now they seem so insignificant to me. Prepare to fire all of our weapons at once, Step, and then get out of there fast. You must fight these perceptions, Garant. That is the Phoenix worldview, not yours. Preparing to fire all guns now. But Starhawk, I am the Phoenix. I think that's probably the worst part about the Phoenix. Very arrogant, kind of godlike. Not really having any connection to anybody. Look, it's baseball. The best in baseball. Score. I don't think we looked at that one before. Win exclusive Mickey Mantle cards. See details on Score Series 2 wrappers. Only the Phoenix could put an end to this with a mere gesture. Kaboom! Sidestep? Rodney, he killed Sidestep, huh? Get in here, Bat. You too, Rodney. We're getting out of here. I prefer to differ, witch. You caused too much suffering for far too long to get away scot-free. Oh, look, there's a new one. It's coming! In just a few months, you and your friends can experience adventure gaming unlike anything you've known before. A medieval swordsman, a powerful warrior, or a mystical wizard. This can be you in the new, easy-to-learn Dungeons & Dragons game. Learn to survive the deepest dungeon and the most horrible dragons. Take the new Dungeons & Dragons game challenge. It's coming soon. No, I don't think that. The thing is that I think they explore the Phoenix as this huge entity that's not really human. So you can't base it on human morality. Because its world is just pure energy. And it needs to eat. So, I mean, it's more like a parasite, if anything. To paraphrase the old proverb, it's time to reap what you have sowed. Ah! Boom! Hurry up, Rodney. Rodney! No! Rodney! No. Bat. Don't. There's nothing you can do for him now. No, Rodney. Not my Rodney. No! That person's going to have a hard time, man. Meanwhile, in deep space, Zor, but I hate space travel. There's never anything to do. No action, no, hey, I can peek into Broadside's room. Sure, she's always entertaining. There's a certain advantage to being a phantom. Maybe I'll catch her in the shower again. Huh? What's this? A hologram of one of the Guardians? And she's swooning over it like some love-sick schoolgirl? Why, yes, Charles. I'd love to accompany you to fantasizing over the enemy Broadside. I wonder what Interface would say if he knew about this. Brah. You despicable piece of space flotsam. How dare you invade my privacy? Do it all the time, sweets. I'm usually pretty good. It's usually a pretty good show, too, but this. All hands report to the bridge. Repeat, all hands. I'll kill you for this. Acrodamian. Brawls. Right. Erase. Looks like I'm saved again. We have discovered an anomaly on the intercept course coming from the space sector we just lived. Is this some sort of problem between you two? I will kill you, bro. Nah, nothing we can't handle. So, what do you think it is, Interface? Issue 6 to us, Craig. We can only be certain of two things, brah. It is too small to be anything except a single being, and it is too hot not to be on fire. We'll rejoin force soon enough, but for now... Yep, a spirit of nature. Let us return to Rancor's palace, where we left half of our cast last issue. Craig. Flank her. Let's rid this world of the despot once and for all. Approach me at your own peril, Guardians. Alita sounds almost as bloodthirsty as Nikki. I better put an end to this now. Give it up, Rancor. You don't have the element of surprise now. That's what you think, fool. Rancor, hurry. Stop her. She's getting away. What's wrong with Batwing? We've lost Rodney. Ah! Curse you, warrior. This isn't over yet, thunk. Gone, just like that. The only question now is where could they have teleported to? Wait a minute. Just before I found you, she sent 2 lieutenants into the corridor outside of this room. Good work, Replica. Let's go, Guardians. This may not stop you from crushing me, Big Ugly, but I guarantee you'll never forget me. Ah, my eyes! You blinded me! Pa-pa-boom! Nikki! Blockade, grab Shardo, and let's get out of here. I can't, I'm blind. Rancor, you get Blockade out of here, Step. And then come back and get me. Get Shadow and me. Alright. Let's go, Block. This way, and in less time than it takes to tell it, they were gone. Nikki, I can't believe you were the first of us to go. You were always so full of life, always so strong. But I always knew that beneath that tough girl exterior, there was so much to love. Oh, Nick, I never told you that I really cared. Don't you dare go getting mushy all over me. What? Hiya, toots. There's nothing like having a friend who can move light at light speed, is there? Nikki, you're alive. Surprise you, big softy. Now you put me down before Lita begins to regret saving me. Our losses have been severed, post-blasted. Both Blaster and Rodney are dead. Rodney, oh. Stop your callawalking, Batwing. Blockade's blind, and they even managed to wound me. Shh, it's all right, Pat. Mind scan prepare to arm the bombs. If I can't rule Haven, no one can. But Rancor, they'll destroy the whole planet. I am fully aware of that, Scan. You just do as you were ordered to, or this arrow will find its way from my calf into your heart. Crash. What was that? The plate glass in Rancor's storm room. Let's go. Look at you, Vance. How I envy you. Leadership comes to you naturally, as naturally to you as breathing does to me. Cam shake. I'm sorry. I hit it. It'll happen. Because my arms are around the camera is why. I'm hoping to fix that when I get back. I got some ideas on that. We're going to look at some stuff. Meanwhile, in orbit above Haven, I know it has never been attempted on such a scale by anyone except the Keeper. What I'm asking you is, can your circuits accommodate this much power? Can you interface successfully? Affirmative. With a 50.275% chance of system failure. I consider that an acceptable risk. I concur. And at the moment, racing up the corridors of the palace to the throne room. Got to try catch up with him. Gun wasn't built for running with. Courier up ahead looks like scene of a major battle. Alright, please let them all be alright. Simultaneously at the throne room, where is she, Guardians? Where is Rancor? She will not escape my retribution. Garad, is that you? You're so different. I was Garad. Now I am the Phoenix, and I will have this world. Which means the Phoenix will eat it, so it's not like it's going to get any better. And in another part of the palace, misguided, idealistic fool, you will have nothing. Release the volcanic restraints. But Rancor, without those restraints, the world will explode in 5 minutes. Meow, meow, meow. We return to the throne room. Guardians, you must beam back to the ship and get out of the planetary orbit now. Accept the word of the one who... Now wait just a minute, Starhawk. I don't believe that anyone can accuse me of being a tyrant. But I am the leader of... Nice to see you all in one. What? Stark. Argue, says, I do not have time to argue, Martin X. Phoenix, the time is upon us. You will fulfill the mission for which you were released. Gotta move fast. I stand ready, child of the stars. Are you... Are you? Peace. We're back at the ship. What in Havok's name does he think he's doing? I'm not certain, Althea. But I do know enough about him to know that he wouldn't have done this without good reason. Marty learned Starhawk's secret in issue number 7. Craig. By Sharon, the seismic activity is increasing. This planet's going to explode. Charlie, pull the ship out of orbit. Prepare to jump to light speed. Everyone else to your stations now. Marty, are you crazy? We can't leave all those people there to die. And what would you have me do, Vance? We can't stop the planet from exploding. My ship first priority is to my ship and to my crew. Mute point, Marty. We can't jump at light speed. All the ship's power has been diverted to the transporters. Intense. There's that game again, Silver Surfer. What? How can that be? Give me a visual on the planet's surface, please. What is it, Marty? Somehow, all the major fault lines are giving in all at once, Vance. Havok's bones. This world screams to me in its death throes, Matrix. It's screaming to all of us, Yondu. Nikki, scan the planet. Look at that. New volcanoes are springing up everywhere. Sensors show massive ground quakes planet-wide, Martin X. By the stars, everyone on Haven is doomed. Guys, I hate to make a bad situation sound worse, but take a look outside the ship. And there's that Silver Surfer where you win the thing. Kaboom!
Hey, shit.
What's up, babe?
I hit my hip.
Ooh, ouch.
Yeah.
It's the Phoenix. Oh my lord. It's grown to planetary proportions. Look, it's eating the planet even as it explodes. Prepare for shockwave. Oh, I already said that. Boom. Guardians of the Galaxy stand terrified in terror as the world dies right before their eyes. Because Phoenix is a planet eater like Galactus. How they get their energy. All right, we're at the bulletin, bullpen bulletins. Stan Soapbox. Hi, heroes. Your sentimental bullpen asked if I'd write a Valentine's message for all of you true believers in the spirit of the season. Well, as everyone knows, my heart is a veritable cornucopia of love and affection. So I'd like nothing better than to write something pretty and romantic, but it seems to me that the ones most deserving of our affection, gratitude, and unstinting devotion are the thousands of wonderful servicemen and women who are serving as part of the United Nations forces in the Middle East. If Valentine's Day stands for love, who can best represent the sentiment than the soldiers, sailors, Marines, and airmen who love their country enough to give up their freedom, their families, their jobs, and in some tragic instance, their very lives, in order to serve when needed. Due to the time it takes to have these columns printed, this message is being written in the middle of December. Naturally, I've no way of knowing whether the next few months will lead to peace, war, or a lingering stalemate by the time you read this. Nor is this column to be interpreted as either a defense or a retribution of our foreign policy. The rights and wrongs of international affairs are for wiser heads than mine to determine. But regardless of your position or mine on the Middle East, there is one point on which we all agree. Americans' finest young men and women have answered the call once more and are prepared to give the last measure of devotion in the service of their country. Therefore, what could be more fitting than to dedicate this Valentine message to our brave men and women of all races and colors and creeds who are serving so valiantly so far from home. We wish you well. We salute you proudly. We pray for you constantly. We love you all. Stanley. In February, it's February, and you know what that means. Yes, that's right. It's the time of year when all young lovers get giddy with anticipation over that special holiday that only comes once a year, President's Day. And what better way to honor our nation's great leaders than by going to a big department store and buying lots of sheets and towels? It's the way George and Abe would have wanted their birthdays to be celebrated. Remember, every time you spend $1 or a $5 bill, you're honoring two of the greatest men that ever lived. But there's another holiday in February, a slightly more commercial one, Valentine's Day, a holiday which is perhaps best celebrated by massacring a rival crime family. We asked our own gang of pencil and typewriter pushers how they plan to spend this special day. We posed the following question to the Marvel elite. What would be your idea of a Valentine's Day dream date if you could do anything or go anywhere? Here's what they had to say. Eric Larson, the mega talented artist of Amazing Spider-Man, said he would grab my best gal, head up to the high country, and after a day of skiing, settle down by a roaring fire and let nature take its course. But the most important thing would be that I wouldn't have to work that day. Like Eric, hyper popular artist of the regular Spider-Man book, Todd McFarlane, who also wants to get away. Todd said he wants to take my wife on a sailboat out to a secluded island where we'd have our own inlet to ourselves. We'd just sit there and relax and try to enjoy nature, cut off from the media and TV and all that stuff. We'd just sit there and stare into each other's eyes. Super hot penciler co-plotter of New Mutants, Rob Liefeld, said his dream date would be to take my girlfriend up in a hot air balloon and some wine and bread over the California Sea. There's not a California Sea, it's an ocean, dingle bing. Meta-cosmic artist Ron Lim of Silver Surfer and Captain America fame has a more down-to-earth dream. Said Ron, I'd like to go to Disneyland and Epcot. That'd be cool. Quasi-aquatic writer-artist John Bryan of Namor the Submariner doesn't have to dream about his Valentine's date. He's going to live it. On November 8th of last year, John and his lovely wife celebrated their 10th wedding anniversary, said John. We're going to Paris around Valentine's Day to celebrate that. Neo-star Dale Keown, penciler of The Incredible Hulk, had this to say about his girlfriend. I'd like to get one. Hang in there, Dale. We're sure you'll make a love connection of your own soon enough. Uber-talented artist Jackson Quince, currently knocking him dead on Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., has a dream date all planned out. Jackson said, I want to have a picnic in the Scottish Highlands. My wife and I have been saving it up for years. If Jackson doesn't get to go on that trip, perhaps he may want to read Charles Vest's Spirits of the Earth graphic novel instead. Prolific writer Roy Thomas, currently making his triumphant return to Conan the Barbarian titles, has some savagely good plans for himself and his lovely writing partner, wife Dan. Said Roy, we probably would enjoy wandering around some city with a zoo and some used bookstores and maybe some yarn stores since Don likes to weave. All night we'd watch a week's worth of Coronation Street, which is the most popular soap opera in England. Currently we watch it once a week on cable from Canada. The multi-talented Peter David of the Incredible Hulk scripting fame has a time-traveling wish for Valentine's Day. Said Peter, "I'd like to go back to the hotel where I met this girl 15 years ago at a Star Trek convention and recreate the whole thing. Unfortunately, the hotel was torn down, but the girl is still around since I married her. My dream date would be to take my wife to a Star Trek convention and recreate the whole thing." Super artist Art Adams won the originally award for his Valentine dream. "I'd like to spend a lovely Valentine weekend in suspended animation with Cindy Crawford aboard the Jupiter." Art said his girlfriend helped him come up with that one. And no, Art is not dating super mega model Cindy Crawford.
Yeah, but it would have been fun.
For our last Valentine's Day dream date, we went straight to the big man himself, our founding father, Stan the Man Lee, who has definite plans for himself and his lovely wife for the 14th of February. Joni and I will make a beeline for the Marvel bullpen. With everyone else gone, we'll have it all to ourselves to share the ultimate romantic fantasy, reading comics together. Well, said Stan, we can't think of a more romantic idea ourselves. Perhaps we'll join you. Well, that's all the dream dates we have for this year. We'd like to thank everyone who's participated, and we'd like to remind all the folks at home that even if you don't have a Valentine to call your own, you can always live with your love lives vicariously through comic books. We leave you with these final words. May all your dates be dreamy. That was interesting. All right, back to the comic story. Hey, in 1991, what were you doing in the Middle East?
In 91?
Yeah.
We weren't really doing much of shit in the Middle East.
Well, I was just wondering because Stan Lee had written a thing thanking them all for being in the Middle East. This book didn't come out. This book came out in 1991, so I was curious what were they doing with. That would be the end of the Iraq and Iran or whatever it was.
It was before the first Iraq War, but that was during the oil field crisis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, oil field.
Because I know that when I was in high school, at the end of the 80s, George Bush sent some people over.
Yeah.
But I can't remember what it was. That was for Kuwait. The oil?
That's all Kuwait. Yeah, the Kuwaiti oil fields.
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
See, our history all comes back eventually when we think about it. Okay, so here we go. They watched helplessly as the giant bird of fire consumes the last of the planetary debris. And then its enormous hunger satiated, flies off into the cold darkness of free space. The whole planet gone. All those people, and all we could do was watch. Starkar was on that world. Not even he could have survived that. No, goddess. The one who knows is not gone. Now, how could you possibly know that? We're getting a message on subsequent frequency, guys, from Starhawk. Where is he, Nikki? We'd all like to know. Look, bam, zoom, pow, FLIR cards. Kaboom, hard-hitting, non-stop, and action-packed photography. The FLIR 91 series, the most radical cards ever. Zoom. Looking for close-ups of your favorite player? Wham, bam, they're on our new full-color backs with major and minor league stats and your favorite team logo stickers in every pack. Awesome. Pow, dynamite subsets like a totally incredible 12-card Pro Visions series and the history-making 10-card FLIR All-Star series featuring 3 photos of the same player. Collect the FLIR 91 series cards and stickers. The most improved player for 1991. Fatum, they'll blow you away. It's interesting. Comic books had all the baseball, basketball, and football cards. He's on the mainframe's world. Congratulations, Guardians. The plan has been completed success. What plans, Stakar? Yes, Starhawk. Please explain yourself. Where is Rancor? How did you... Rancor and her lieutenants are not among us. Their fate is unknown even to me. As to what we have done, isn't the answer obvious, Matrix? Martinex? No, it's not. Please, eloquate for us. Very well. We interfaced mainframe more powerful computers with the teleporter on your starship, the Captain America 2. Then, by utilizing the Phoenix as a power source, we were able to teleport the entire population of Haven to Mainframe's long-deserted world. That's incredible. But what about the Phoenix entity? Doesn't it pose a potential threat? No, Charlie 27. With its hunger sated, it is now lies dormant. I have consent to be placed under psychic dampeners to keep the entity in check. Amazing. And the people of Haven will repopulate Mainframe's world? Affirmative, Vance Astro. I look forward to interfacing with humans once again. So everyone wins. All right, Starhawk. Score 1 for the good guys. I am proud of you, Stakar. Before we start pinning medals on anyone, I, for one, think Starhawk has a lot to account for. Sure, we dispose of Rancor and her slime balls. And yes, the population of Haven has been moved to a safe place. But you never told any of us about your big plan, Starhawk. A lot of innocent civilians were slaughtered because of an ill-conceived revolution, and some or all of us Guardians could have been killed while you were off plotting all of this with Mainframe. The fact is, we were cut out of the information loop, and what we didn't know almost got us killed. Everything was predestined, Charlie. Your prior knowledge would not have affected the outcome. On this, you must accept that. Hold on, Starhawk. I've given you a lot of latitude knowing what I do about you, but I'm with Charlie on this one. You're going to have to be more forthcoming with your knowledge. See issue 7, Craig. And for my part, I intend to question your motives before following your lead in the future. If such is your wish, Martinex, it is. Just stay there, Hawk. We'll swing by and pick you up. No! He'll just have to catch up with us. I just got a priority 1 distress signal from Firelord. That's the next issue. But we're not going to read that right now. Okay, so we have Reader's Space. I don't know if you guys like these or not. I find them interesting. The older paper's harder to read, though. Dear Galaxy Movers and Shakers, Guardians of Galaxy 8 has got to have been the best issue of this title all the way around. So much about each Guardian was brought forward and examined. Martinex's apprehensions about leading the team, Altia's attraction to Vance, and the fact that she's a light construct, Yondu's spiritual collapse, Nikki's dumping Charlie, and so much more. I've enjoyed this series previously, but this issue has moved it up a couple of notches on the Phillips comic rating scale. By the way, please tell Starhawk that this one who knows business is getting tiring fast. Mark Phillips, Johnson City, Tennessee. We think you're going to like what we have planned for Starhawk, Mark. Dear Guardians, first, I like to say how much I enjoy your book. I find myself looking forward to each new issue with more excitement than the last, and issue 8 was no exception. Second, I like to try and answer Jesse Sanchez's question about Starhawks being able to fly faster than his light rays. Einstein's theory of relativity states that the speed of light is constant in any form of reference. This means no matter how fast Starhawk is traveling, he will always measure the speed of light traveling away from him to the same 3 by 10 to the 8th power per second. He will never be able to beat his light rays in a race. Phil Winters, Saskatoon, SK, Canada. Thanks, Phil. Now that deserved a no prize. Consider yourself duly awarded one with our compliments. Dear Space Fillers, I think this comic finally became something special with issue 8. It's always been good, but the best part of the book, the characters and their interactions, were the strongest here. It is rare that an action book, which there is nothing wrong being, has had such true-to-life love stories. It didn't hit me until I read Charles Novisky's letter that Yondu has actually faced, in reality, what is often said, I wouldn't go out with you if you were the last man on Earth. Okay, in this case, the universe. This truly must be a blow. Maybe if I didn't think that Marty was doing such a good job of it with this issue, I'd agree with him that Vance should have taken the role of the group leader. Vance is resistant with Althea, even though he wanted otherwise, showed more than a little of wisdom of Cap. I, for one, like it because anyone who has lived 1,000 years shouldn't be acting brashly. It will be interesting to see how he handles his understandable attraction to Alita. Perhaps the strongest for me was the scene with Charlie. The old let's just be friends line. That made it worse by Nikki's free-willing nature. To tempt Charlie like that was cruel, even though it wasn't intended that way. That's just Nikki. And Charlie, of course, ever the macho man, must continue to appear strong. Never let them know your feelings, and they'll never be able to hurt you. Never. Chris Conley, Dearborn, Mississippi, I think. Yondu's real pain over Photon's rejection has more to do with its religious implications than a rejection of him personally, Chris. This storyline will come to a head soon, and neither Centurion will ever be the same thereafter. Centurion, yeah. Dear Guardians, I would like to open this letter by saying that your encounter with Forrest was quite excellent. And yes, I do give you permission to elaborate on their origin. For those of us, yours truly, who are still confused on Starhawk's origin, if Starhawk is all-knowing and can only create alternative reality, how can he know what this reality will be if he hadn't created it yet? As for issue 8, Yondu, who happens to be my favorite character, has literally cracked. I do think an attitude adjustment on the part of Photon is in order. Also, please make sure that Yondu doesn't lose all of his sanity. Oh, and by the way, what determines which character will appear in the corner box? Tom E. Taylor. Farmer Branch, Texas. There's actually a town called that. Interesting. Starhawk is not all-knowing, Tom. He only knows that which he has lived through before, just as you remember the things that have happened to you in your lifetime. In the past, when he diverged from what has gone before, he has created an alternate reality, which has, until now, in no way altered his own destiny. For more detailed explanation about alternative realities, please refer to any issue of What If. As for the corner box, Jim usually tries to insert a Guardian not featured in the overall covered image, or one with a special prominence in the issue before. The cover box is this one right here. Corner box. That's this right here. So, I had to make sure you could see it. Okay, dear Craig and Jim, the same quality marks both the writing and the art of Jim Valentino density. The detail packed into every panel is reminiscent of Brian Byrne, or Perez, which the amount of story packed into each issue will fill 2 issues of the most other titles. For example, issue 8 contained character studies of every Guardian except Starhawk, who had most of the last issue, as well as scenes with Stark, Starhawk's mission to devastated planets, Malavents, and the planet of mutants. And last of these, featuring a Wolverine descendant, is obviously a cell booster, but the others interested me more. After Taserface's return, give Stark a long rest. They took up most of the issues 1 to 4, and any villain becomes tiring with constant exposure. Avoid the most obvious guest appearances. The Celestials, Galactus, Eternity, and all the other cosmic entities. What could the Guardians, even Starhawk, do against Galactus anyway? Radford R. Poston, Claremont, California. We're not sure, Bradford, but we think you're going to find out soon. Find out and soon. Oh, and speaking of Stark, Guardians of the Galaxy next issue. The fate of the Phoenix Fire Lord returns, and he and the Guardians discover there's nothing like a little overkill. Special guest cover inker Art Thibert. On sale in just 30 days. Okay. You know where that's going to go. All right. So I don't know how you... Oh, look. We got another best views. I don't know how you guys enjoyed that or not enjoyed that. I'm sure there's people out there that read these comic books way better than I do. I'm just doing it because it's fun. It's fun. It lets me go back to them and, I get to share something I've enjoyed in my life. Okay, so now we're going to read this one. So this is the beginning of the Marvel saga history. It's called The Original History of the Marvel Universe. And I have, I think, at least 10 of them. I think it goes up to 30 or something like that. But I have at least 10 of them. I stopped buying them after a while. But some of the earlier stuff from the 60s, if not late 50s, early 60s, I think. We'd have to read the history, which I was going to do really quick before we do that. Okay, so hang on just a second. We're going to do this really quick. Not that one. Stop. Okay. I'm going to do a quick history of the comics as a whole, not just the comic books, but just so we all kind of know where we're at. So, from Wikipedia, this is what I'm going to use. I'm sure if we went to Marvel Comics or whatever, there'd be more, but I'm just going to read this really quick. So, Marvel Comics is a New York City-based comic book publisher. The property now of Walt Disney Company since December 31st, 2009, and a subsidiary of Disney Publishing Worldwide since March 2023. Marvel was founded in 1939 by Martin Goodman as Timely Comics, and by 1951 had generally become known as Atlas Comics. The Marvel era began in the August of 1961 with the launch of the Fantastic Four, which is what Marvel Saga starts with, and other superhero titles created by Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, and Steve Ditko, and numerous others. The Marvel brand, which has been used over the years and decades, was solidified as the company's prime brand. Marvel counts among characters such well-known superheroes as Spider-Man, Wolverine, Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Hulk, Ant-Man, Wasp, Black Planet, and Captain Marvel, as well as a popular superhero team such as the Avengers, X-Men, Fantastic Four, Guardians of the Galaxy. Its stable of well-known supervillains includes Doctor Doom, Magneto, Green Goblin, Venom, Red Skull, Loki, Ultron, Thanos, Apocalypse, and Galactus. Most of Marvel's fictional characters operate in a single reality known as the Marvel Universe, with most locations mirroring real-life places. Many major characters are based in New York City. Additionally, Marvel had published several licensed properties from other companies. This includes Star Wars comics, twice from 1977 and 1987, and again since 2015. Okay, so I'm going to sneeze. All right, so you could go and read that. And really what happened is what made it a big deal is that it probably wouldn't have became as big a deal, they have said, if it hadn't been for Stan Lee, who was kind of a breath of fresh air. Because what it was is that there was a gentleman who formed the Timely Company's Goodman. He was beginning the cover date from April 1941 to spring 1941. While no other Timely character would achieve the success of the three characters, the Marvel comic books #1 cover date October 1939 included the first appearance of Carl Burgos' android superhero, the Human Torch, and the first appearance as the anti-hero, Namor the submarine Marina. I can't say that. Mariner. I get there sooner or late. And there wasn't any that for a while there they didn't have anything that was like really big. And then it says Goodman hired his wife's 16-year-old cousin Stanley Labor as a general office assistant in 1939. When editor Simon left the company in late 1941, Goodman made Lieber, by then writing posthumously, as Stanley, interim editor of the comic books line, a position Lee kept for decades except for the 3 years during his military service in World War II. Lee wrote extensively for Timely, contributing to a number of different titles. Goodman's business strategy involved having his various magazines and comic books published by a number of corporations, all operating out of the same office with the same staff. One of these shell companies through which Timely Comics was published was named Marvel Comics by at least Marvel Mystery Comics number 5, as well as some comic covers such as All Surprise Comics number 12. Bro. But it was because Stan Lee came in and then they started changing some stuff up. A lot of them was the superheroes. Like Captain America. In 1957, Goodman switched distributors to American News Company. Sorry, I was reading ahead so we could see if we liked it. The first modern comic books under the Marvel comic book brand were the sci-fi anthology Journey into the Mystery number 69 and the teen humor tale Patsy Walker number 95, both cover dated June 1961. So that's 4 years before I was born, which each displayed on the MC box of its cover. In the wake of DC Comics' success in reviving superheroes in the late 1950s and early 1960s, particularly with The Flash, Green Lantern, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Green Arrow, and other members of the Team Justice League America, Marvel followed suit. In 1961, writer-editor Stan Lee revolutionized superhero comic books by introducing superheroes designed to appeal to older readers, then predominantly child audience of the media, thus ushering what Marvel later called the Marvel Age Comics. All right, so that's our history for the real world. So I just wanted to touch on that before we started reading the comics, because all of this is stuff pretty much that Stan Lee brought to the table. Okay, so we have the Fantastic Four. It's Professor Xavier. There's Wolverine, Ant-Man, and Guardian from Alpha Flight, featuring the secrets of Fantastic Four, Alpha Flight, X-Men, and much, much more. See? And Galactus is in the little box up here. Okay. Now, these ones I bought when I bought them. They were not new, and so they were already very old looking. So that's kind of why you're going to see the older comic book stuff. So, Marvel Saga, the official history of the Marvel Universe. So these ones are earlier than my Guardians of the Galaxy, just so you know. Welcome to the Marvel Saga. In the pages of this monthly series, you'll embark on the journey through the wondrous history of the Marvel Universe in the way that no one ever has before. Now, for the first time, the entire sprawling body of events that is Marvel history, events that you've been clued into in bits and pieces over nearly 25 years of comics, is finally available in a sequential narrative form. That is the essence of the Marvel Saga. As the saga progresses, you will see how all the various Marvel series interrelate. You'll see how the stories of the Eternals, Alpha Flight, and the Fantastic Four are all actually tightly interwoven. You'll see the roots of the events that years later would dramatically unfold in the lives of the characters as diverse as the Rawhide Kid and Galactus. And of course, you'll see the incredible origins of your favorite characters and the significant events of their lives and careers, and how they fit together like a piece of incredibly elaborate puzzle, enabling you to see exactly when and how all the events transpired in relation to all the others. Now, I used to have, and I don't know what happened to, But I used to have where they told you about all the characters and an index, but I don't know where that went. So, but as important as all of the above is one special fact: the series is designed for maximum impact as an exciting story. Read through this issue and you'll see. We've taken sequences from many diverse sources along with some newly drawn material and crafted it into a story you'll never forget. This issue, for instance, has the material from 12 different sources, ranging from Fantastic Four #1 to Alpha Flight #3. Talk about far ends of the Marvel spectrum. How we incorporate such diverse material, you'll see inside. And by the way, nothing has been made up for this history. If information was not printed somewhere in a Marvel comic, it won't be in the Marvel saga. But enough preamble. Read on and see how comics' foremost historian and terrific writer to boot, Peter Sanderson, who did so much of the research and writing on the Marvel Universe Handbook. That was it. Marvel Universe Handbook. What was interesting about the Marvel Universe Handbook was that the covers would all go back to make one giant long poster. Like you could put it all the way across your wall and around your wall, and they would all connect. But I don't know where that went. So, like I said, I got comic books missing, so I'm very confused by that. But it is what it is. I did give some away a while back, so maybe that was it. But I don't remember giving those out because it didn't seem like something anybody would be interested in. Writing on the Marvel Universe Handbook has taken all the wonderfully diverse material provided by Marvel creators past and present and crafted it into the greatest saga of all, the Marvel Saga. Enjoy. And I don't, Danny, somebody, the editor. P.S. Saga is just the opening event celebrating Marvel's first quarter century, one that begins a little before the big anniversary and will keep going for a long while after it's over. But keep a lookout for the others. They're coming soon, and they're wild. So Peter Sanderson was the writer and research. Ron Frez and Al Milgrom did the art, pages 1 through 5. Rob Friends and Bob Layton did cover art. Paul Beckton and George Russo, colorist. Janet Jackson and Bill Valerie did design. Brenda Mings is the typesetter. Ron Zombie, Barry Shapiro, Phil Felix, Ken Lopez, Harry Candelaria, Bruce N. Solatoff, Rob Carcella, Paul Becco, and Don Gender of production. You have Mark Grunwald and Ralph Macchino are consulting editors. Danny Fingeroff is editor. Jim Shooter is editor-in-chief. Excerpt materials in this issue originally appeared in Fantastic Four's issue 1, November 1961, 2, January 1962, 271, October 1984, 273, December 1984. Tales to Astonish Ant-Man, issues 27, January 1962, 44, June 1963. Avengers number 227, January 1983. Alpha Flight, issues 2, September 1983, 3, October 1983, and 12, July 1984. The Thing, issues number 1, July 1983, issue 10, April 1984. In addition, information from a wide variety of other sources were incorporated into the all-new pages 1 through 5. Excerpted material by Stan Lee, Larry Lieber, H.E. Huntley, John Byrne. Writers: Jack Kirby, John Byrne, Don Heck, Ron Wilson, Sal Buscema. I know that name. Buscema. I just probably chopped that all up, but I know the name. Art Simek, Joe Sinnott, Dick Ayers, Hilary Barra, Brett Breeding. They were all the artists. Okay. This book's a couple of years younger than Roger. All right. Book 1, the saga begins. Before the stars came to be, When the galaxies were mere cosmic dust, there existed the first being in the universe. Though his name would later become synonymous with destruction, it is from the creation of Galactus that we mark the beginning of that universe. The last survivor of the dead cosmos. He was transformed into a fierce planet devourer at the birth of the universe we know. Among the earliest races of beings to evolve and build mighty civilization in the expanding new universe were the mysterious celestials and the various races of the elders of the universe. Another significant race to appear was that of the Watchers, who took it upon themselves the task of observing the other races but swore never to interfere with them, which, of course, we all know they did. So, in time arose the Kree, which are the green goblin-looking things, I think. No, the Kree are the other ones, and the skulls are the green, because they are the ones that are shape changers, whose galactic empires were in conflict for millions of Earth's years. But it was the economic, nearly I can't say that word, omnipotent celestials who first took notice of the seemingly insignificant world we call Earth. Okay. So there'll be more writing than there will be comic booky like stuff. There'll be pictures, but the Celestials first arrived on Earth roughly 1 million years ago to experiment on humanity's ancestors. They created two new races, the godlike Eternals and the grotesque Deviants, who, while giving mankind's forebears the genetic potential to one day produce superpower beings. 25,000 years ago, the Kree performed similar experiments on primitive humans, who, as one of the Kree centuries later discovered, becoming a highly evolved race of Inhumans, which the Inhumans were one of my favorite, and I love their comic books whenever I could find them. Meanwhile, great human civilization arose, Atlantis, Valerusia, and everywhere, only to be destroyed by the great cataclysm 3,000 years later. Sunken Atlantis would be settled by the water-breathing ancestor of today's Atlanteans. After the cataclysm, there was a new age of warriors and wizards on the surface, in which sword-wielding barbarian rose to become the greatest monarch of his time. Still later, powerful other dimensional humanoid beings descended to Earth to seek worship as gods from the people of ancient Egypt and Greece and from the Norsemen. These were the times of legend when beings such as Hercules and Thor first walked the earth. And when the gods departed, mortal heroes rose in their place. For example, in medieval times in England, the original Black Knight defended King Arthur from many threats to his reign at Camelot. More centuries passed, and then new heroes arose in the 19th century American West. The adventures of Kid Colt, the Rawhide Kid, the original Knight Rider, and Two Gun Kid became legends. With World War I came the first costume heroes, but there were only a few, like the first Union Jack, and their careers ended with the war. In World War II, Sergeant Nick Fury and his Howling Commandos at the forefront of millions of other valiant Allied soldiers proved that men needed no superpowers to soundly defeat Nazi menace. But it was during World War II that the first superpower costume heroes appeared. There was Captain America, the Atlantean Prince Namor, the Submariner, the original android Human Torch, and many others. Their victories over the Axis powers thrilled the world, but the new heroes disappeared after the war's end. The age of the superhero had not yet truly arrived, but the lives of certain individuals were moving in fateful directions, and that age drew ever nearer. Then A momentous day arrived. Here we go. Imagine it is a mere handful of years ago. It is the fateful day that 4 people will attempt to make their first flight to the stars, an attempt that will have far-reaching significance for the future of the universe. On that same day, the lives of other individuals will also soon have dramatic, important effects on that universe. Proceed quietly on, like calm before some catalytic catalytic. I can't say it today. Storm. Cataclysmic. Maybe stuck on there. So we're going to skip it. The world had lost sight of Captain America, whom cold seeds had placed in suspended animation, to be found and worshipped by Eskimos, who were having no idea who he was and supposed him a dignity of some word. And that word is not a good word. They would be the Inuits. But I read it as it was, but that would be incorrect in this day and age, just so you know. So anybody out there who is of the Inuit or the Alot tribes or some of the other northern tribes, Native American tribes, I apologize. His partner, the Submariner, his ex-partner, Submariner, had been deprived of his memory by adversary and was now no more than a pathetic derelict living on the streets of New York. Again, also kind of insulting, but it's the time era. Doesn't make it right, it's just the time era. There's going to be a lot of sexist and other comments, so just so you know. Okay, Nick Fury had become a colonel assigned to the CIA, and he also happens to be white in this. But he longed to get out from behind a desk and to be plunged back in action, which I have to look up because I had been having a curiosity about that. I have original graphic novel of Nick Fury and the Howling, whatever it is he hangs out with, and then at some point he became a black man, and not that I have a problem with it, but I was always curious when that change had occurred. So I'm gonna look it up. Okay, so 2002. So in 2002, Nick Fury was white, but in 2002, Marvel comic writer Mark Miller and artist Brian Hitch made him into a black guy who looked like Samuel L. Jackson. They did it without the actor's permission. This bold move had repercussions. Because that was gave the guy that originally decided to use Samuel L. Jackson the idea to do it. The Ultimate Captain America said, question 1, the Black Nick Fury. 2 decades ago, Marvel reinvented most of the characters in the Ultimate Marvel Universe. Okay, so that's when that happened. Because there's a lot of things they did in the Ultimate Marvel Universe, but I just didn't know that was when it was. I just know, because I didn't follow Nick Fury in the comic books at all. In the comic books, I just, whenever it would come up in the other comic books that I read at the time. So I quit collecting comic books before my son was born, around 2004. So there's a lot of comic books that I might have from that time period that I didn't really, wasn't collecting in a sequence manner. I just pick them up whenever I find them on sale or something. Soon the CIA would send inventor Tony Stark on a secret mission to Southeast Asia. But for now, Stark reviles in his life as a playboy, free of the burdens that he will bear when he becomes Iron Man. Another scientist, Dr. Robert Bruce Banner, finds himself laboring for the government on a secret test of a new weapon he has invented, the gamma bomb, that will turn him into the monstrous Hulk. And another scientist, Dr. Henry Prime, is now ready to test whether certain subatomic particles he has discovered can shrink a human being in size. And then we come over here. Not everyone is so busy. Take Dr. Don Blake, who feels a sudden desire to take a vacation in Norway. Although he does not know it, it is there he will reclaim his true form, that of Thor, god of thunder. On the other hand, Professor Charles Xavier has rarely traveled far from his mansion since he was crippled years before. For some time now, he has tutored Jean Grey in using her powers. Both of them are mutants. Soon he will have other students, a team of X-Men. Dr. Stephen Strange has recently returned from his own travels and taken a house in New York's Greenwich Village. He is now ready to act on his own, having been trained and aged to be the master of the mystic arts. Meanwhile, Matt Murdock and his best friend Froggy Nelson are studying to begin their careers in law. It is not as a lawyer that Murdock will bring his father's killer to justice, however, but as the masked daredevil. I used to collect some Daredevil. I have some Doctor Strange too. I have not really any Thor. What Thor I have is, again, in stories. Neither Ant-Man either. Not much Hulk. Hulk just, again, in the same thing. Iron Man, least of all, I think, is, again, only if he was in the Avengers. And a much younger student, Peter Parker, soon to become the Amazing Spider-Man, escapes from the taunts of the bullies into a world of science that he loves. If only he hopes he could someday be as great as a scientist as Dr. Reed Richards, then they wouldn't laugh at him. As they're all related to everyone.
We all laugh at Reed Richards.
Huh?
We all laugh at Reed Richards. I mean, come on. The guy can't even keep himself together. He goes all stretchy and shit.
Well, so did the other dude. What was the other guy that did that?
Let's see here.
Can't remember.
In Marvel, there's also the Elastic Man.
That's it, the Elastic Man. He's also a bit odd.
Yeah, he is.
But I guess again, if you can't keep yourself together, you tend to fall apart.
Better than arm fall off, boy.
It is Reed Richards, perhaps the greatest scientist of his time, who is behind this day's secret mission to the stars. Richards' fascination with science goes back to his boyhood, when he was guided through the field's mysteries by his father, Nathaniel Richards. The elder Richards vanished when a time travel device he invented transported him to an alternative Earth. Reed inherited his father's scientific genius and was in college by his early teens. Reed's future partner and best friend Ben Grimm grew up on Yancey Street in a rundown section of Manhattan. The young Ben became embittered towards the world when his older brother Daniel, whom he idolized, was killed in a street gang battle. Within 10 years, Ben had succeeded his brother as the leader of the Yancey Street gang. When Ben's parents died, he was taken in by his Uncle Jake and Aunt Alice, who lived uptown. At first, Ben resisted their kindness toward him. "I may have to live in this dump, but you ain't gonna make me like it." But eventually, Ben came to return their love. He left his life with the gang behind, entered high school, and became a football star there in his senior year. He was offered a football scholarship to State University. There, Ben first met two men. One would become his greatest enemy, Victor Von Doom. Say, pal, isn't that Reed Richards in there? I am not your pal. As for the identity of that native simpleton, I could not care less. The other was Reed Richards, who would become his closest friend. "You got yourself a new roomie, Richard. The name's Ben Grimm. I figure I'll be more laughs than the nut who just flew out of here." Reed was working towards yet another degree and had one burning ambition in mind. "I'm going to build a rocket, Ben, a rocket to the stars. Tell you what, you build that rocket and I'll fly it." Ben had no intention of becoming a pilot when he said that, but after graduation he entered the Air Force. He became the leading test pilot during the next few years. One day he left On the day that he left the military, Ben received a job offer from his old friend. I've come to hold you to your promise, Ben. Promise? What promise? I've built my rocket, and you're the only man on Earth I want to fly it. This is how comic books, how they look back here. This is how they looked when I first started reading them. Reed and Ben were joined at Richard's rocket base in Central City, California, by Susan Storm and her younger brother Johnny. Reed and Sue had first met years before and were now in love. Shortly before the launch of his starship, Reed and Sue witnessed the arrival of another spaceship, one out of which emerged a gigantic alien. He had come to conquer Earth. Welcome to the planet Earth. My name is Reed Richards. Can you understand me? I can. My name is Gormu. I am a warrior of Kalu. Richard used his scientific expertise to destroy the monstrous Gormu, and was now more determined than ever to finish his experimental star drive rocket as soon as possible. Mankind had to have a means to defend itself against future menaces from space, but the government was having second thoughts about continuing to help fund Richard's project. Without its funding, the project would die. Richards believed he had to give his starship a test flight immediately, despite of the possible dangers of cosmic ray storm, or he would never get another chance. So that night, Richards announced his decision to Ben, Sue, and Johnny, his three closest friends. He will test the starship that very night. If you want to fly to the stars, then you pilot that ship. Count me out. You know, we haven't done enough research into the effects of the cosmic rays. They might kill us all in space. We must make this flight now, Ben, before the funding is cut out. I never thought that you would be a coward. Coward? Nobody calls me a coward. Get the ship. I'll fly her no matter what happens. And so, led by the determined Dr. Reed Richards, the little group speeds towards the spaceport out on the outskirts of town. Susan, Ben, and I know what we're doing, but you and Johnny? Don't say it, Reed. I'm your fiancé. Where you go, I go, and I'm tagging along with Sis, so it's settled. No time to wait for official clearance. Conditions are right tonight. Let's go. It kind of explains why they didn't like Reed Richards for a while. I want to make sure my pages. Before the guard can stop them, the mighty ship, which Reed Richards had spent years constructing, is soaring into the heavens towards outer space, like it would be that easy. She's behaving like a baby. Everything is perfect. Yeah, except the cosmic rays. No one knows what they'll do. Excuse me. Higher and higher, like a silver bullet, rose the sleek spaceship. We have to do it. We have to be the first. But we're reaching the cosmic storm area. Hang on. Rakataka. Hear that? It's the cosmic rays. I warned you about them. They're penetrating our ship. Our shielding isn't enough. But I don't feel anything. Naturally, they're only rays of light. You can't feel them. But they'll affect you just the same. I need to get... Hang on. I gotta get something to drink because that's hurting my throat. Okay. My head, it's pounding and it's about to burst. Ben was right. We should have waited. Should have gotten heavier shielding. Johnny, what is it? What's happening to you? I don't know, sis. My body feels hot, like it's on fire. I feel like I'm burning up. Listen to me. Somebody else take the controls. I can't handle the ship anymore. My arms are heavy, too heavy. Can't move. Too heavy. Gotta lay down. I can't move. Ben! Mm-hmm. At that moment, the powerful ship's automatic pilot takes over and manages to return the sleek rocket safely to Earth in a rough but non-fatal landing. I'm grateful we're all alive. It was mighty close. But Reed, we failed. After all your work, your dedication, we failed. What do you expect? But we're still not safe. We still have to see whether the cosmic rays affected us in any way. Oh, Reed, I feel so strange. Susan, look at Susan. What's wrong? You're fading away. Oh, no. It's impossible. Somehow the cosmic rays have altered your atomic structure, making you grow invisible. Sis, I can't see you anymore. How long will it last? No way of knowing. What if she never gets visible again? Look, I see her. I'm myself again. It happened so suddenly, all by itself. Thank heavens, you're all right, my darling. All right? How do you know, wise guy? How do you know she won't turn invisible again? How do you know what'll happen to the rest of us? Ben, I'm sick and tired of your insults and of your complaining. I didn't purposely cause your flight to fail. And I'm sick of you, period. In fact, I'm going to paste you right in the face, right in that smug face of yours. Ben, stop. Wait, look. What's happening to you? You're changing. Don't try to talk your way out of it, mister. I'm going to mop up the place with you. Run, Reed, darling. He's turned into some sort of a thing. He's strong as an ox. Reed, darling, bah. How can you care for a weakling when I'm here? I'll prove to you that you love the wrong man, Susan. Oh, hey, what? No, you don't. You've had this coming to you for a long time, Ben. Oh, Reed, not you too. No, not you. What am I doing? What happened to me? To all of us. Okay, so I have to tell you, I'm not a fan of the Fantastic Four. I have never been a fan of the Fantastic Four. I've read a couple of their comic books, but not many. Because I just felt like they were all a bunch of whiners. It was really hard to read their books. Later on, they got a little better. The writers got a little better. But the early on stuff was a lot of this stuff, and it was really hard to read. You turned into monsters, both of you. It's those rays, those terrible rays. Now I know why I've been feeling so warm. Look at me. They've affected me, too. When I get excited, I can feel my body begin to blaze. I'm lighter than air. I can fly. Minutes later, Johnny Storm's flames subside, and he lands near the other three. Silently, they watch the small fire he had started in the underbrush burn itself out. Silently, they are each occupied with their own startling thoughts. We've changed, all of us. We're more than just humans. Listen to me, all of you. That means you too, Ben. Together, we have more power than any humans have ever possessed. You don't have to make a speech, big shot. We understand. We gotta use that power to help mankind, right? Right, Ben. Right. I'm calling myself the Human Torch, and I'm with you all the way. Same goes for me, the invisible girl. There's only one missing. Still missing. Ben. I ain't Ben anymore. I'm what Susan called me. The Thing. And I'll call myself Mr. Fantastic. And thus 3-4 friends became the first of the new generation of superheroes. They did not intend at first to spend their lives fighting super powerful threats to humanity, nor do they plan to immediately reveal their powers to the public, but fate takes matters into its own hands. Now the thing about the Fantastic Four that I have read, it was when Ben goes through this identity crisis because he, unlike the others, he can't change back to human. And so he has to kind of find himself, I guess, in the midst of things. And I could kind of identify with that when I was young because I had mental health issues and it was really hard to find myself, to find a place for myself in the world because I always felt like I felt different than most people. And when I would try to talk, and I probably wasn't different than most people, but when I tried to talk to people about my problems, if they had the same problems, didn't share it and always made me feel like I was the odd one out. So there's a run where you learn about Ben and how he goes through and everything. But other than that, for a long time he just whined about being stuck in as Ben. And I get it. It'd probably be hard to deal with because he wasn't quite human. So, I mean, at first the Thing looked quite different than he does today. His familiar brick-like hide will evolve over time and his body accustom itself to its transformation. But on the day of that fateful flight, when an army helicopter approached to investigate the crash landing of Starbridge, Ben knows the soldiers will only see him as a monster. Get used to this, Grim. Unless this transformation wears off, you're going to be hiding like this for a long time. So he hides at first, but finally he shows himself, and the soldiers react predictably. Seeing a thing lumbering towards them, they open fire. Unhurt but enraged, Ben fights back, but his teammates prevent him from doing any harm. And soon, peace having been made, the soldiers fly the foursome back to the nearby army base. Tango Alpha Bravo to Catbird C. We've picked up four survivors of the crash we sighted. And boys, you just ain't gonna believe what we're bringing home. The light words seem to brush away for a moment the enormity of the events of which they speak. But they cannot brush away the feelings that grow deeper, blacker in Ben Grimm's heart as he sees the soldier, sees even his dear friends lean unconsciously away from him, away from the monster he has become. And I'm not saying that he didn't deserve to feel the way he felt, because they were treating him incorrectly, but he shouldn't have stayed with them if that was the case. And he just kept staying with them because he didn't know what else to do. Sometime later, a threat arises from the that imperils the entire world, and perhaps only Reed Richards and his allies might be able to stop. So this day, Richard fires a flare gun to summon his partners, and the astonished populace of Central City first learn the name of the new superheroes in their midst, the Fantastic Four. Frightened citizens recall the rumors about strange beings with weird powers being glimpsed in the city. Can they be this Fantastic Four? Look, in the sky, what the blazes does it mean? I don't know, but the crowds are getting panicky. Rumors are flying about an alien invasion. Reed Richard lowers his flare gun and waits for the other members to make their way to his headquarters. It is the first time I have found it necessary to give the signal. I pray it will be the last. And Reed Richards is kind of an asshole. He's really arrogant. He didn't get better in time. They never wrote him really good as a understanding person. I'm really eager to see this new movie. I didn't see the second one, but I saw the first one. So, we'll see. In the weeks to come, the Fantastic Four will become respected and admired throughout the world as heroes. But here on their first appearance before the general public, things are quite different. Why must they build doorways so narrow? Holy smokes! A monster! It's a walking nightmare! Help! Help! Lily-livered cowards. It ain't human! It's too big, too strong! It's a Martian! Not only the thing, but even the invisible girl unintentionally inspires terror in the streets. Hey, what's going on? Something rushed past me, something unseen. Stand aside, I have no time to lose. It's a ghost! Finally, the Air Force was called out to deal with a Human Torch. It is a flaming flying object. Let's get it, guys. No, stay back. Keep away. Why won't they listen? I warned them. I tried not to burn their planes, but they came too close. I also like the way they made him look. When he was... there were no eyeballs or nothing. It's kind of cool. That changed later on, though. Richard has learned the nuclear power plants throughout the world have vanished in mysterious earthquakes. There, it had happened again, this time in the western equatorial Africa. But how? Why? That's what we've got to find out. By studying the cave-ins carefully, I've pinpointed an island located exactly between them. That is where we will find our answer. It is known as Monster Isle. Monster Isle? That's just a fairy tale. There's no such place. Only one way to find out, Ben. And find out they do. Hours later, aboard the small private jet, the Fantastic Four sees a strange mountain rising from the sea like an unearthly, grotesque face. They have found Monster Island. There it is. Upon landing, the Fantastic Four begin exploring the strange island when suddenly, look out! It's a cave-in! Hold on, Johnny. Hold on. Luckily, Sue and Ben weren't with us at the edge. Mole Men. Which is such an interesting bunch, too. From far beneath the surface, Reed and Johnny find themselves the prisoners of the first supervillain that the Fantastic Four is to battle, the Mole Man. So you have never heard of the Mole Man, eh? Well, soon the world shall hear of me. The Mole Man explains his captive audience how he, too, once lived on the surface, where he continually met with mockery and rejection due to his grotesque appearance. Finally, I could stand it no longer. I decided to strike out alone, to search for a new world, a legendary land at the center of the earth, a world where I could be king. My travels took me all over the globe. Even the loneliness is better than the cruelty of my fellow men. And then, just when I had almost abandoned hope, when my little skiff had been washed ashore here on Monster Island, I found it, that strange cavern. Where can it lead me? I soon saw where it led. It led to the land of my dreams. Down there below, I found it, the Earth's center. But in the dread silence of the huge cavern, the sudden shock of my loud outcry caused a violent avalanche, and when it was over, I had somehow mysteriously survived the fall, but due to the impact of the crash, I had lost most of my sight. Yes, I had found the center of the earth, but I was stranded here, like a human mole. That was to be the last of my misfortune. My luck began to turn in my favor. I mastered the creatures down there and made them do my bidding, and with their help, I carved out an underground empire. Now, before I slay you all, behold my master plan. See this map of my underground empire? As soon as I have wrecked every atomic plant, every source of earthly power, my mighty mole creatures will attack and destroy everything that lives above the surface. And now, at my signal, those creatures of darkness, my descendants of Earth's center, shall dispose of all of you witless intruders. We'll see about that, Mole. The Thing. Too late, fool. The die is cast. There is no turning back. Boing, 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 boing. Hearing the Mole signal, the largest and most deadly of his underground creatures ponderously raises itself into the room, its brainless rage directed at the four astonished humans. Back and forth, buzzing around the monster head like a hornet, flies the human torch as the gigantic creature vainly tries to gasp its fiery foe. Moving like a well-oiled fighting machine, the Fantastic Four with the deadly Mole Man in their grasp race for the surface. But when their evil antagonist seizes the signal cord again, and you haven't won yet, even you can't defeat all of my underground horde. Hurry, Reed, hurry. Can't you even hold on to one little guy? And then they come like figments of a mad nightmare. Roaring, running, snarling, the Mole Man's entire army of underground gargoyles. But they hadn't counted on the unbelievable power of the Human Torch. Flying between his fantastic allies and the pursuing horde, he blazes a fire swath which melts the soft earth. This will cause a rock slide, sealing us off from those creatures. We did it! We're free! And the entrance to the Mole Man's empire is sealed forever. Moments later, but where is the Mole Man? I left him behind. He'll never trouble anyone again. And the words of Mr. Fantastic are indeed prophetic. As second later, he destroyed the entire island and he sealed himself below forever. But Mr. Fantastic will be proved wrong, and the Mole Man will return again and again to menace the surface world, only to be stopped each time by the Fantastic Four or other heroes. The Fantastic Four's first victory over the Mole Man makes them heroes in the eyes of the world, but still beneath much of the acclaim there is a suspicion and even fear of these people with freakish powers. How can we be certain, people wondered, that the Fantastic Four will not turn their powers against us? The coming of the Fantastic Four would inspire the creation of certain other superheroes. To learn about the first of these, we must go back in time to a day shortly before Reed Richards' space flight. This is the research and development section of the Amcan Petroleum Company in Edmond, Alberta, Canada. Dr. James MacDonald Hudson has invented a suit that gives its wearer superhuman abilities, but it's not going to be used as he is intended. Jerry, no, you really can't be doing this to me. General, my apologies for this nonsense. I can't understand Hudson's behavior. Please don't apologize, Mr. Jackson. Dr. Hudson is naturally upset over these developments. You are far too kind, General. Dr. Hudson is clearly ignoring the fact that this toy of his never had been built if I and Amcan had not been prepared to take the financial gamble on his ideas. And now you're going to turn my invention over to the military? The American military? That stinks, Jerry. That's the reality, Jim. The majority of our funding is American, and our parent office has made deals with the Army before. Well, they haven't made any deals with me. Not with me, Jim. Okay, so if you don't know who Mr. James MacDonald Hudson is, he will eventually become the leader of Alpha Flight, which they'll probably explain here, but I just wanted you to know, because we're actually not going to learn about Alpha Flight as much as we are about other people. And as the man destined to become the Guardian storms out of his lab and into the nightmare of the shattered faith, Dr. Hudson, I'm sorry. I wanted to warn you, but Jackson wouldn't let me. Oh, yes, it's Miss McNeil, isn't it? You're Jerry's private secretary. I put in my resignation when I found out he was going to do this to you. You quit, Miss McNeil? I'm flattered, but you shouldn't. Please call me Heather, Dr. Hudson, and don't worry about it, really. That night, Hudson broke into Amcan and put on the suit he designed for the underground exploration. I suppose substantial argument could be made that this suit belongs to Amcan, and maybe it does, but I'll be only too happy to return it once I'm done here. He then destroys the only copy for the plans of the suit. Satisfied that now Jackson could not duplicate the suit for use as a weapon, Hudson flew away in it. I'll leave the suit where it can be easily found, but the cybernetic helmet is mine. I designed and built it before I came to Amcan. Let's just see him try to run that suit without it. The next day, in a Spartan bachelor apartment overlooking the North Saskatchewan River in Edmonton, Alberta, a lonely man contemplates his action of the last 24 hours. Well, you done it for good, and all this time, Boyle. No job, no money, no future, and a good chance of criminal charges. Bing boing. Who on earth? Heather. What in the world are you doing here? How did you find me? Hey, brilliant resourcefulness and having access to the boss's address book can work wonders, Doc. As for why I'm here, you lost your job yesterday, and if you're anything like my six brothers, that means you got an empty... All right. We got... All right, I don't know where it disconnect, so Anybody who's now watching it still can connect the last one with this one. Sorry. It was all good, and then I don't know how it got disconnected. So I'm gonna finish out this though. I don't think we're gonna get to the second one of the Margot saga, or I will, and we'll have very little writing time. We'll wait and see what time it is when I actually stop. Maybe since these don't have advertisements, we might get through it. Anyway, I was going to say that they tell you that she's a teenager, which I think she's like 17 or 18 years old, but we have no idea how old Doc Hudson is, and so that kind of gives you this very strange. Would also be something not looked at very well in this time era. But I mean, 1985. What are we? Let's see. It's almost 40 years ago. So, because Roger's 44 and he was born in 1981. So, 4 years later. So this is, these are 40 years old. These comic books are 40 years old. So that being said, because the comic books are 40 years old, there's a lot of different social cues and things that went on. I'm not saying they're right. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is just that comic books reflect society, always. So it gives you kind of insight about comic books and how we view things through the comic books, how the lens was, and the people that were writing it. Because most of the people that were writing it were older men who were writing it more towards adults than kids now. So it had more adult-like themes. Not always good adult-like themes, but it had more adult-like themes. So Heather McNeil is in love with... Heather's still a teenager, has fallen in love with Jim Hudson, and has a plan to help him. They go to Ottawa, the nation's capital, where a deal is made. Hudson will keep his invention in return for going to work for the government. Then the two receive a surprise. The PM would like to have a few words with you. The Prime Minister. Good afternoon, sir. Bonjour, Dr. Hudson. I have a project here which I think may interest you. I'm going to mangle any French, so... and I'm sorry about the darkness on the comic books. there. So I'm not looking at it, keeping it down. Indeed, it is very much interesting. Hudson did not want another country to use his invention for destruction, but he does want to help Canada defend himself. For 3 long, tiring, and altogether glorious years, he plugs headfirst into the creation of Department H, the super-secret research and development arm of the administration. Mavericks, other moments of genius, other moments of genius seeking the proper channel to grow. In the midst of it comes Hudson's greatest success and greatest failure, Schnick, the mutant super agent codenamed Wolverine. Sometime in those first few months, he also finds a moment to marry. Hi, Heather. What is it, honey? You seem upset. Not upset, Matt. Astonished. Have you seen the papers? It's all over the TV and the radio, too. It's fantastic. Reed Richards. I've heard of him. He's reputed to be the most brilliant scientist on Earth. The 3 others, bombarded by cosmic rays, transform into, what is this? The paper calls them? Superheroes. So again, they made that reference that she was really young when she married him. So good, bad, whatever. I see my bitrate still is having some problems. So I am not really sure if this stream's going to go through. So I just want you to be aware of that. The bitrate is bouncing up and down. So I apologize. There's not much I can do about that. Because I have it on one of the lowest settings it could have. Our internet's been kind of wonky lately, so I don't know what's the cause of that either. But who knows. Alright. So. That's it. At the moment, At that moment, James Hudson finds one element missing from Department H. He and a score of scientists who work with him find purpose. For the next 6 years, Hudson's every waking moment is turned to his ultimate project, a project that leads ultimately to his becoming somewhat to become his ultimately to his becoming somewhat against his will. Now, I read a lot of Alpha Flight, so Guardian, the first leader of Alpha Flight, Canada's own team of superheroes. But now, let us return to research scientist Dr. Henry Pym. Pym's determination to find a means of changing the size of an object or person has origin in a tragic event that took place many months before. Pym had recently wed Marie Travia, a Hungarian political dissident who had escaped into the West. The couple naively went to her homeland on their honeymoon. Darling, do you think it's wise for us to come back to Hungary? You and your father were political prisoners and, hush, my love, we escaped to your wonderful country. They will not know me now that I am the wife of an American. I am Mrs. Pym. Not Marie Travia. But suddenly, you will not make a sound, Marie Travia, or your American husband will be shot. Henry, what is this? Silence, America. Pym was struck from behind as KGB agents drove off with his wife. Later at the American embassy, Pym learned of Marie's fate. You must be brave, my friend. My people have found your wife. There was a note on her body saying that this is what happens to those who attempt to escape from behind the Iron Curtain. Marie, dead? No, she was so young, so beautiful, so wonderful. No, it can't be. Pym became obsessed with finding Marie's killers, but his search was hopeless. He went berserk and was put in jail on verge of the first mental breakdown he was to suffer in his life. I couldn't find them. I didn't know where to look. I have come to release you. You will be sent home, my boy. Back in America, driven by the memory of Marie's murder, Pym vowed to find means through science to fight evildoers. So I will strike back at all of it, wherever injustice exists. I am a scientist. I will use my talents, my knowledge, to find a way. Go find a way. Okay. Pym tried to find means of enlarging or reducing the size of an object. The mockery he received from his fellow scientists only intensified his obsession with his experiments. I'll show you, then you shall know I'm a greater scientist than any of you. Finally, after months of effort, shortly after Fantastic Four gained their powers, Pym met with success. He discovered the subatomic Pym particles that would enable him to change size. After using his reducing serum successfully on animals, Pym finally tries it on himself one day. Almost at the instant of contact, the fantastic serum begins to act. It's shrinking me so fast I can see myself change. I'm becoming smaller and smaller. It's working faster than I expected, too fast. In an unreasoned panic, Pym races outside, only to find himself surrounded by ants. They seem like monsters to the now ant-sized man. Crawling swiftly and surely over the ground, the menacing creatures nearly surround Pym, chasing him towards a nearby anthill. With pursuing ants close behind him, the frightened fugitive reaches the top of the anthill and then tumbles down inside. What? Pym falls helplessly into the ants' cache of honey. The ants' food store it for food. It's so sticky I can't get free of it. The more I struggle, the tighter it holds me. And then, an ant. He's seen me. He's crawling towards me. It's incredible. He's trying to pull me out of the honey. But that helpful ant is an exception. In his struggle to escape the anthill, Pym encounters others who regard him as prey. Oh no, another ant waiting for me. And with all its fury, the predatory insect attacks the tiny human. Strong, too strong for me. After surviving various dangers in the anthill, Pym finally finds a means of escape with hostile insects hot on his trail. Up ahead, a path out of this accused anthill. If I can only manage to reach it safely. Long, frenzied, fear-filled minutes later, made it, and now there, up on the window ledge, is my enlarging serum, the only thing that can return me to normal size. But how am I going to get it? I can't climb up the window. It's hopeless. They're almost upon me. I just can't run anymore. Then, just as all seems literally hopeless, Henry recognized one lone form. The ant who saved me before. Maybe he'll do it again. If I point to the window ledge, perhaps he'll sense my meaning. If only he'll understand. The insect does understand, and for a moment later he begins gruelly crawling up the sheer, steep wall. He's taking me up to the window. I'm going to be saved. Saved. The serum. Splash. I'm growing. I'm getting bigger and bigger. I'm normal again. I'm a man again. And now the first thing I must do is destroy these growth potions. They are far too dangerous to ever be used by human again. But Pym has not destroyed all of his growth potions, and soon he will shrink himself again to become the original Ant-Man. Later still, he will successfully take on the identities of Giant Man, Goliath, and Yellow Jacket. Meanwhile, the Fantastic Four are enjoying their newfound fame, but their pleasure is due to be short-lived as a familiar figure swims towards an offshore oil drilling platform. Unseen and unsuspected, he swims towards one of the towered mighty support posts. And then, like a fallen giant, the mighty structure crumbles and slowly sinks to the sea. To the boats! Set the boats! Luckily, we all got away with our lives, but what caused it? Was it a depth charge? Look, swimming away! The Thing! He did it! The Thing wrecked the tower! Meanwhile, many miles away in one of America's most expensive jewelry stores, we don't usually take the gem out of the vault to show people Miss Storm. It's worth almost $10 million, but for you, I can make the exception. Yes, it is just what I've been looking for. It is. I must admit, I never really expected anyone to buy such an expensive gem. Buy? I don't intend to buy it. She's gone. Guards, guards. She must be here, sir. No one went past us at the door. You fools, of course she went past you. That was Susan Storm, the invisible girl. How in blazes can we ever catch her? And in the Midwest, we're about to witness another fantastic event during the dedication of a gigantic new monument. The priceless statue took 5 years to carve out of solid marble, and now, look in the sky, it's a human torch. He's going to, oh no, no! His blazing body completely melted the statue. He's flying off laughing. And at New York's main power plant, an intruder short-circuits key equipment, causing a blackout. That arm, it can only belong to Mr. Fantastic. It is done. The city has been plunged into utter darkness. We have done well, worked well. We have succeeded. Yes, by now the entire nation is hunting the Fantastic Four. The order is out. Shoot on sight. There will be no place to hide. I've been wondering, how did you accomplish all our feats? Although the army thinks it was done by brute strength, I secretly demolished the water tower by means of a concealed electronic detonator. As for me, I quickly changed my size to only a few inches tall, but everyone thought I had become small. My task was an easy one. With a power anti-gravity gear and a low-velocity thermal bomb, I really seemed to be a flying flaming human. As for me, I needed no special device, for it's an easy matter for me to alter my body in any way I desire, just as it is easy for all of us to do so, which is why the unsuspecting Earthmen will never know that we, the Skrulls, have impersonated their famous Fantastic Four. Now all that remains is for the Earthlings themselves to hunt down and destroy the Fantastic Four. And once the Fantastic Four are slain, no power on Earth can stop the Skrull invasion. Even now, our mothership hovers unseen above Earth's atmosphere, waiting for a signal to launch the attack. And thus we learn the secrets of the incredible feats we have seen from above us. The Skrulls from outer space have turned all of Earth against the Fantastic Four. Next month, the Fantastic Four Awesome first battle with the Skrulls, the origin of Spider-Man, origin of the Hulk, the rebirth of Submariner. This and much more in the Marvel Saga #2 on sale in 30 days. And then they show you the cover galleries here. So we have the Fantastic Four, and then we have Harry Prim's first reduced himself to ant size in Tales to Astonish. That was in that one. And then the Skrulls and the final Fantastic Four's first battle in Fantastic Four #2, 1962. And then as you see, these covers also go front to back. Okay, so I'm going to try to get #2 in, because I want to do 1, 2 each week. So we'll see. And then I'll go ahead and do some journaling, or I'll just read this and not do any journaling. So we'll try it. So this is Marvel Saga #2. And we have Spider-Man, Hulk, and then also they said back here more of the Fantastic Four, Namrod, and then more Fantastic Four, which is very similar to some of the stuff we see in movies. I'm not gonna read this. It's all pretty much the same stuff. Yeah. So, or at least I'll read part of it, and then we can read some more the next time I come back when I do this again. So, this is book 2, Transformation and Rebirth. It is less than a decade ago, at the beginning of one most significant era in human history, the era of the superhero. Only a short time before, the American people thrilled to learn that they had been rescued from disaster at the hands of the Mole Man by the team whose appearance signaled the start of that era, the Fantastic Four. Virtually overnight, the foursome became the sensation of news media. Whatever qualms people might have felt about the team's strange power and the monstrous appearance of one of its members, the thing were buried beneath the public's overpowering of gratitude. But then came the reports that the Fantastic Four had committed acts of theft and sabotage. The nation felt betrayed, and its love for the new heroes quickly turned to hate. The Thing, Mr. Fantastic, Invisible Girl, Human Torch. My fellow Americans, even as I speak, the armed forces are searching throughout the country for the Fantastic Four's hideout. No one could underestimate the extent of the threat that these 4 superpower freaks pose to our national security. Meanwhile, many miles away, in an isolated hunting lodge, the Fantastic Four themselves listened to the same news conference. The Fantastic Four have become the most dangerous menace we have ever faced. They must be found. They must be punished. Turn that radio off. We have to think. It is obvious that some foursome is impersonating us. But how? Why? But Reed, how could any humans impersonate us? No one else has our powers. I'm not worried. Reed will figure out what to do, and then we'll take care of him, I bet. Talk, talk, talk. All you ever do is talk, and I'm not built that way. I want action. I know you do, Thing, but we can't fly off the handle. We've got to wait till we know who's behind all this. Wait, that's all right. For you, Reed, at least you're human. But how could you be like me? I don't want to wait any longer. I'm going out. To fight, to smash. Reed, how much more of this can we take? Sooner or later, the Thing will run amok, and none of us will be able to stop him. She's right, Reed. We've got to do something about him. No, we must be patient. After all, he's not really to blame. The first thing we must do is learn who is impersonating and then why, and then we pulverize him. Attention, Fantastic Four, we have you surrounded. Come out with your hands up or we will fire. Nah, they won't. They're not as tough as everyone says. One false move and we'll shoot. Relax, soldier. We don't plan to fight the whole U.S. Army. Less than an hour later at federal prison, you'll each be in a specifically constructed private cell. Even your strange talents won't be able to free you from there. But the soldier is wrong. The public have not seen superpowered humans in years, and no one yet realizes how powerful the Fantastic Four are. So it's not surprising that the army is unable to prepare cells that could hold the foursome for very long. That one small air vent was all I needed to burst into flames, and now, even steel will shatter if you pound at it long enough, and I never get tired. One side, soldier boys, before I trample on you. The Fantastic Four realizes the only way to clear the names is to find and capture the criminals who are impersonating them. Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, suspects the imposters might try to sabotage a new rocket. He decides to go to its site, impersonating his own devil in hopes of meeting the other imposters. Johnny's guess is right, because the imposters are really shape-changing alien Skrulls whose goals are to dispose of Earth's only superpower defenders and to destroy mankind's capabilities for space travel in order to conquer the planet. I don't know if anybody's watched the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but they tackle a lot of these stories in some form. It was a pretty cool little show. I like the first season the best, though. At the launch site, Johnny makes contact with two of the Skrulls. If I didn't know better, I'd swear you were Susan Storm and Reed Richards, two of the Fantastic Four. Well, that's who we're supposed to be, isn't it? But when the Skrulls revert to their true forms, you fools, why did you bring him? He's the real Human Torch. But you thought what I wanted you to think. Now when the others see my signal, you'll wish you had stayed where you came from. The rest of the Fantastic Four quickly respond to the signal from Johnny's flare gun and overpower the Skrulls. Let's let go of that weapon. Phew. Now I know how the old Indian fighters felt when the cavalry arrived. Again, the words using incorrectly. Never thought we'd track you down, did you? So that in itself is just an insult. Clear across the board. So I apologize. The next step is in the Fantastic Four's plan is for the real Fantastic Four to take their impersonator's spaceship and use it to go to the Skrull mothership waiting out in space. Over there, the quartet, posing as the four Skrull agents, hope to completely subvert the intended Skrull invasion of Earth. Remember, I told you, if you're listening to this or just coming in and listening to it, there are things that are very 1980s, not necessarily things that how would be talked about now. Aboard the mothership, the Fantastic Four are met by the unsuspecting Skrull leader. So, you have returned. Is your mission accomplished? Are the Fantastic Four dead or in prison? Shall I signal the invasion? There can be no invasion. The Fantastic Four cannot be beaten. Earth's defense can defeat us. No, it can't be. It can't. I must have proof, you hear. Give me proof. Here are the actual photos of what we face if we invade Earth. The photographs, of course, are fakes, devised by Reed Richards to convince the Skrulls that Earth defenses are great enough to overwhelm even the Skrulls' advanced weaponry. Incredible, unbelievable. We've got to leave this galaxy at once. If you hadn't warned me in time, we'd surely have all been slain. Change form and join us as we leave this accused planet forever. No, we must stay behind and remove all evidence of our presence on Earth. We shall sacrifice ourselves so you will be safe. Never in our history has there ever been so noble a deed. Here, take this. Highest award for your bravery. And so the Skrulls sent the Fantastic Four back to Earth. After defeating the alien Gromu some time before, Reed Richards pledged to find means of defending Earth from threats from space. Now he has succeeded in thwarting a full-scale alien invasion. Well, ain't that cool? On returning to Earth, the Fantastic Four passed through unusually intense cosmic radiation, which for the first time since his tragic change caused the Thing to revert to its original human form. I'm changing again. I know it. I can feel it. Changing into what? Sue, let me have your mirror. Oh, hey, I'm not a monster anymore. I'm a man again. Oh, Ben, I'm so happy for you. My face, my hands, they're human. Human. Wait, what's happening? No, no, not again. Don't let it happen again. Don't. I should have known it couldn't be. It was just a joke. Yeah, a really funny joke. For as on all subsequent occasions, the thing's change to human form is only temporary, leaving him trapped within a monster body. Once back to Earth, the Fantastic Four prove they're innocent to the legal authorities. The government publicly clears the foursome's name, but keep the existence of the Skrulls a secret. The public is led to believe that humans impersonated the Fantastic Four and were brought to justice, but some of the public still remains suspicious of any superpowered beings. One problem still has to be solved. What's to be done with the 4 captured Skrulls? It turned out that one of them somehow escaped during the Fantastic Four visit to the mother ship, and the 4 heroes were unable to find any trace of him. The Skrull could not be heard again for years, but the team still had to deal with the other 3 Skrulls. What will we do with them, Reed? No matter what we do, they can always change their form and escape. There's one. Greetings all, Shardvixen here. Alright, so I am going to do the last of my modelization stuff. And this one is with a oil base. I think you're supposed to use vegetable oil. I'm going to try it with baby oil. I mean, oil's oil, right? Okay, so first we're going to do it with food coloring, and then we'll do it with paint. So I'll do two types to see. So we need no water. We just need oil. I'm not sure how much oil, because that's just me. So okay, so far my favorite marbleization method is with the starch and I think it was acrylic paint. I think that's my favorite. Okay, so let's put our blue in. It's really hard to get. I like how they plop in and then they become. I find it really hard to get the oil to mix, even with paint, but we're going to do it with the food coloring first. Because I do it with vellum. Okay, I don't know if that's mixed enough or not, but we're going to do that one first. Paint might do better in the oil. You gotta try it all. Try it all, they say. Try it all. I think I like liquid starch best because, and I'm gonna do it with glue again, but the glue or liquid starch. I think you can do it with cornstarch too, so we'll probably do that. Do a run with cornstarch and see, but it's because it's the closest to real marbleization that I found, which is an art form, so you should check it out to watch people do it. Okay, and then we have that one, and let's do our yellow.